You're listening to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with host Kevin Jefferson. This is the #1 podcast for African-American real estate professionals who are doing extraordinary things. It's time to tune in. And now, your host, the People's Lender, Kevin Jefferson.
Welcome to Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson, and today we have a special guest, LaShana Middleton. How are you, LaShana?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good. And LaShana, tell us a little bit about you.
Just a little bit.
Just tell us all you want us to know about you.
Well, in short, I am a mother, a mother of two young adults. I'm a wife, almost 30 years in. And I have been in the real estate industry almost 20 years. I started out as an investor, now a broker in a couple of different states. And, just looking to keep leveling up.
You're doing great things. So you say you've been in the business for almost 20 years. When did you get into business?
I got in the business initially in 2000 as an investor, kind of, started dibbing and dabbing in the investment arena after leaving corporate America, looking for time freedom and money freedom together. And I thought I could find it in real estate investing. Looked up, a few years in and owned about 20 properties between Atlanta and Macon. Went through the crash, lost everything, bankruptcy twice, foreclosures, the whole nine. And then actually in 2010, I got licensed. 2015, I became a broker, and the rest is history.
The rest is history, for sure. Great history.
Yeah.
So what, after, the bankruptcies and the loss of the investment properties, what made you decide to become an agent?
Well, just like kind of where we are now, I saw that the market was shifting. It was going into a renter's market. And, I just said I didn't want to leave any money on the table. And I knew I didn't want to go back to corporate America. I liked real estate, for what it was worth. I liked real estate. So I still wanted to stay in the industry. And even through the crash, it didn't deter me from the industry. Right. And so where I saw that the market, where the market was going, I said, well, I want to help people. Get into homes. And that is what led me into getting my license. And even at that, I started doing rentals. And, today, a lot of us, a lot of agents don't like doing rentals. They feel like it's not enough money in it. And, and the market just makes it kind of hard for us, when it relates to rentals. But rentals saved me back then. If I had kept my head above water, I could remember doing 10 or 12 rentals a month. And it was good money, back then. So I started doing rentals, and then people started asking me, to help them buy a house. And that's where, kind of the turn came, is, just doing rentals and people saying, hey, I really want to buy a house, but I don't know anything about it.
Gotcha. So at that time, were you a full-time realtor, or were you still working?
I never went back to corporate America. I've always been, full-time. Once I left in 2000, I'm actually an accountant by trade, and I used to do budget for Emmer and Crawford Long. And when I left in 2000, that was it. I never really went back to being an employee to anybody. So I had to make things happen. Later on in 2015, I got the opportunity to go to the Dominican Republic on a missions trip. And that's where things really began to take off for me, because when I went on this missions trip, we were able to go in the communities. You know, I know you've been to the Dominican, but I'm talking about off the resort.
Off the resort.
And so, while there, I got the opportunity to actually be in the community and make concrete flooring there in the homes of the residents. And, we were literally on hands and knees spreading concrete flooring in homes. And, it was there that I got the vision to, make create homeowners. Because what I found in them is that, you know, even though they were poor and, they didn't have a lot, they were really grateful for, the things that we were there to do for them. And, God gave me vision right then and there to make 200 people homeowners. And of course, I didn't know how I was going to do it. And we all know in this industry, 200 is a real aggressive number.
Right.
Right. And so I didn't know how I was gonna make that happen, but it was a vision, and I was ready to try and carry it out. And I just came back home and I just hit the ground running, and just doing everything I needed to do to make that come to pass. And and the first thing I did was try to create a team of all those people that you need to make a deal happen. Just like in the investment arena, you got to have that team of, everything you need, your contractors, your lenders, and all this stuff. Same thing, I found myself right back there again in putting that team together and, and just making it happen.
Awesome. So how close did you get to the 200 transactions?
Well, in that year, I think I got nowhere near. I think I got to like 40.
Okay.
Wow. And I mean, that was, like I said, 2016. And of course, I met it. Of course, I've met it since then, but yeah, that's really what started me on that journey, on the journey that I'm on now.
Wow. And I assume just by following you that there's been a uptick ever since. Like you've grown ever since.
Yeah, every year I've seen great growth. Even with my seminars and stuff, and I started my seminars back then as well. So I've done seminars monthly ever since then. Never missed a month. And it's just an awesome feeling for me to be able to educate buyers and dispel those myths that they always hear. And when I started doing seminars, it was more so just I want to educate them. I want to educate them because I realized that you educate them and show them what they can do. It's almost like playing a sport, playing basketball. You got the coach telling you, do it like this, but they don't necessarily tell you why you're doing it that way. And most times, if you know why you're doing it, you're apt to do it.
Okay.
And so that's my take on home buyers, especially first timers. They're scared. They don't know anything. All they know is what somebody else told them. That bought a house a year ago, 10 years ago. And these days and times, a year ago is a long time ago when you're talking about, purchasing a house. So, my goal is to always educate. And what I found is that when you educate them, they know what to expect. And it calls for a smoother transaction and even more transactions because now, they trust you because you've taken the time out to really, educate. And with the seminars, that's what they are. They're educational seminars, and not just your average. And I just enjoy it. I enjoy like showing people what's possible, because most time they're in a world where they feel like it's impossible.
Wow. So let's talk about the seminars, because that's what I saw that made me reach out to you. As a lender, I partner with different realtors, and we would have home buying seminars, and it would be, miss and miss, no hit or miss and miss, 5, 3, just me and the agent. And we thought we were doing all the right things in terms of marketing it to the, Facebook. I had even did one where I just hit the streets and hit up barbershops and salons and laundromats. And here, never had that same success I had when I was back, as an agent in Delaware. So I think I had one on a weekend, and we had 3 people. And then I saw you post that you had 30 people. And I was like, 30 people for what? Like, how'd she do that? So then I'm paying attention to you. And then I seen the month after that, 25 to 30 people.
Yeah.
And then so on and so on. And that was 2018. And guess what? This is 2021, and it's still 30 to 50 people. So I'm like, she is the home buyer's queen. I said, I need to reach out to her and just kind of, talk to you. And you told me, that it was just the consistency, and then just using the people who came to spread the word. Yeah. But how did you get started? How did you have that wherewithal? Because did your first one start out like that and the momentum kept going, or you just stayed at it?
My first one did start out like that, but I want to say to you, before I even get into that, I want to publicly thank you, because I'm big on acknowledging when someone does something for me, or someone inspired me in any kind of way. I always want to make sure that I acknowledge that person, because a lot of times people don't do that. You give them something, or you share something with them, and then a lot of times they act like it was all their idea. and I don't like that. So I want to publicly thank you, because you were the person that inspired me to put that class together for other agents, and to teach other people what I do. That came from you, and I want to thank you and give you that acknowledgement, because it was you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I just try to sow seeds, and it's been amazing. And I've talked to a couple of agents who have been in your class, and they say you break it down to where a little kid can understand it. So in order to do that, you have to know what you're doing.
Absolutely. And that's why I tell a lot of agents too, you got to study your craft, but the way I got started is, and I even tell, agents in my class, and just period, anytime I'm talking about it, the first seminar I did was a conference call. And I can remember I was out in Southwest Atlanta. No, actually I was in Fairburn, and I was at a new community with a client. We were writing a contract out there, and it was supposed to snow that weekend. It was on a Friday evening, and it was supposed to snow that weekend. And as I'm driving home, it started to snow while we were there. And as I'm driving home, the snow was coming down harder and harder, and I'm on 285. And I'm sure you have an idea what that looked like. So I'm in traffic, and I'm just thinking, and I'm like, man, I need to put something on Facebook. And because people are just going to be at home this weekend. It's going to be snowing. They're going to be at home on social media. And I promise you, I cannot remember what I put on Facebook. I don't remember what it was.
Wow.
But it got my inbox blowing up. And people were saying, they wanted more information, more information, more information. And so I said, oh my God. I said, I got all these people. Now what am I going to do with them? And I'm telling you, I said, okay, I went back to corporate America and I said, okay, I'm going to do a conference call. So I said, I went to, freeconferencecall.com. And I set up a conference bridge for that next day on Saturday. I did 2 calls on Saturday. I did one Saturday morning. I did one Saturday afternoon. I did one on Sunday and one on Monday. And all I did was went back to those people in my inbox and I gave them the login information for the call on Saturday, right? Saturday morning, we get on this call and all I did was think about, okay, I'm just going to talk to them. I'm just going to educate them. And I made bullet points. I had a sheet of paper and I just made bullet points of all the things that I felt like people wanted to know about. And I got in the middle of my bed and I did this conference call. I just talked, like I said, I just talked. And at the end of the call, I didn't even know how to end it, right? And I'm on this call for 2 hours.
Wow.
And I'm exhausted afterwards, right? And so at the end of the call, I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I say now? And then, so I tell the people, I said, if you're ready to get started, just send me an email and in the subject line, just say, I'm ready. Email blew up.
Wow.
And when I went back and I looked at the call log, I told my husband, I said, woo, I said, I'm tired. I said, and that was a long call. And when I went back, so I went and looked at the call log and I said, oh, nobody was hanging up. Everybody was staying on. So I said, well, obviously I was saying exactly what they wanted to hear. Well, it was over 100 people on that call.
Wow.
And then I did another call that afternoon, another 100 people. And on Sunday and Monday, it was the same thing. So as people kept in my inbox, I just kept giving them conference call information. And I can remember it was coming up, the holidays were coming up. And I started making appointments with people to do buyer consultations. Now I don't do one-on-one consults anymore. Never, from that point, I stopped doing them. But I would set up shop at the Courtyard Marriott on Druid Hills in 285. That was my meeting space in their lobby. Wow. So I would take these people and I would set up appointments with them and they would come to the Courtyard Marriott and sit down in the lobby with me and I would do buyer consults. And like I said, it was coming up to the holidays and then people started not showing up and they wouldn't call and say they weren't coming. So I said, oh no, this is not good. So I said, well, I need to talk to people, a lot of people at one time. So there went the one-on-ones. And I said, I'm going to just start doing seminars. And I made friends with the girl at the reservationist. I made friends with her and we talked about how we both went to HBCUs. I think she might've went to Howard or something. And of course I went to Tuskegee and we started talking about that. And I told her what I was trying to do, that I needed the meeting room. And they have a little cafe in there too. So I remember she gave me the room for $100 and it included food from the cafe.
And the hookup.
She hooked me up, right? And so I just started telling people, that's when I started promoting the seminars. And at that time, it was just me. And I'm the only one that does my seminars, but I just promoted it on social media. People were showing up. People were signing up. My very first one in person, it was a packed house. They had to bring chairs in. And it's been like that from the very beginning till now.
Wow. So at that point, you were probably one of the first people to, I guess, promote it that way on Facebook. I've never heard anybody doing a conference call. So that was genius in itself, you know, because you knew people were home and weren't going anywhere because they're not accustomed to the snow.
Right.
Fast forward to now, how do you market your seminars? Same way.
Same way. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is from the very first seminar, I didn't even have any handouts or anything, and I've never done PowerPoint presentations in my seminars. I had one sheet of paper, and at the top of that page, it had topics of discussion, and it had bullet points of everything that I was going to talk about, and that was the only handout that I.
Keep it simple though, right?
Keep it simple, absolutely. And they just kept coming month after month. And, and of course, as time went on, I've tweaked things, I've gotten better. And, but for the most part, nothing has changed.
Wow. So now that we're in, let's not say a pandemic, like we're in a different state of the world. Mm-hmm. How are you doing your seminars now?
I'm doing them virtually, and people are still, of course, showing. I mean, just like I would have 30 people. My average was 30 people.
Wow.
In person. And I like, even with then I like to keep it, kind of intimate, because it allowed me to really be, give attention, to pretty much everybody in the room. And I like that. Virtually, it's kind of the same. I think last month we had, about 40-something people on a call. Right now for this month, well, my seminar is next week. It's 57 people registered so far. So, nothing has changed there with the attendance.
Wow, that's amazing. So out of those, let's say we have 50 people, mm-hmm. How many are typically ready at that point? Like they come in and you find out that they're ready.
Out of 50 people, probably 10%.
10%. And
yeah. 10 to 15% are ready right then.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
most of them, they're in a better position than they think they are most times.
Right. They and then how many do you think you close out of in a year's time? How many you think you close out of that 50?
Out of that 50, I close at least out of that 50, out of each set of 50, probably 10 to probably about 10 out of each set of 50.
So that's 20%. That's amazing. That's I'm asking you those numbers because I want people to understand that, home buying seminars still work, and majority of your transactions are buyers, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I think last year I might have done. I might have had. I think I had 2 listings.
You sold those too, huh?
I sure did.
Yeah.
And those were double transactions.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I knew you must have had. I'm sure you had a buyer.
I had a buyer, and they were buying. They were selling and buying. So
wow, triple. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, if you had, from your experience, if there's an agent who is looking to try to expand their business and they want to try to do home buying seminars, I know you have the class, and hopefully we'll be having one soon. But what would be some action items you would have them to start to even get the process started?
First, they will need to make sure they have a social media presence. Even that personal page as well as that business page. I started out really with my personal page, and even today I don't do a lot with my business page, as people you should. I'm kind of a rebel in so many different ways. If it works for me, it works for me.
Right.
But I would say have a great social media presence. And with that personal page, you can't be one of those agents that says, oh, my page private. Okay, so what you doing? How many of those friends and family, those real friends and family, is gonna buy a house from you?
Right.
Right. So that's a big thing that I've seen over the years is, agents with that personal page, they're like, oh no, I don't want, everybody on my page, and I don't want to tell this and I don't want to tell that. Well, I always say to agents, facts tell and stories sell. So if you tell the story, tell the story, because that's what people want to see. They want to hear the story, and they want to see the real authentic you. So one is to have that social media presence, and two, they gotta the craft. I'm not saying even, with as on the lending side, they gotta pair up with a lender that they can learn from. And I'm not saying be the lender, but I'm saying be able to communicate some of that information to your buyer, because those buyers trust you, and you have to gain their trust. Because once you gain their trust, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be a walking billboard, and they're going to do exactly what you tell them to do. But you have to know that in order to gain their trust. So, and agents, they just have to have a backbone and have a backbone, have confidence, and they'll keep coming, and they'll never leave you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good information. In terms of so why haven't you kind of transitioned into more listings? Because of course
that is a thing that I have on the horizon.
Okay.
And I think that, and I've been, all the while I've been in the industry, people always say the listing is in your the leverage is in your listings, the leverage is in your listings. Well, my take on that, I do believe that, but I also believe that listing needs a buyer. Right. So now I am in that space where I want to start to get more listings, because I know what those numbers will look like. And then I have what you call an advantage, because I have a pipeline of buyers. So I can always go to that seller and say, hey, I have a pipeline of buyers that one of them might want your property, and then of course, the income is greater when you got both sides of the table. But yeah, that is more listings is something that I am looking to try to achieve this year, because even with the market that we're in right now, of course, we all know there's no inventory, and people are asking me too, like, what do you think about the market? I don't think nothing about the market. I don't think nothing about the market. Hey, let's do what we do and just keep it pushing. We know buyers are still buying. Yeah, it's a tougher, but again, it's about educating that buyer. I tell my buyers all the time now, look, you got to have your own money. Don't come to me with no down payment assistance stuff. That's not working these days. We're not even acknowledging it. We're not even talking about it. Have your own money. Go in those 401ks, get your money, and have some patience. So that's my spiel to my buyers now. Like, so hey, you got to shift.
Right. So what are your thoughts on down payment assistance?
You know, I think that if it works, it works. But we know what down payment assistance is looking like, you know, as far as when you're trying to win off, when you're trying to get your offer accepted. I really don't think anything about down payment assistance. Not that I dislike it or anything like that. It's just not working if you want your
house, yeah.
If you want your offer accepted.
Right.
That's it as far as I'm concerned, and that's what I communicate to them. You probably won't get your offer accepted. How about that?
Right.
if you just gotta have it, then we'll just work and we'll find somebody that's okay with it.
Right. So, you know, I love your initiative because African-American homeownership is still lower than it was 50 years ago.
Right.
Even though technically we're making more money than we've ever made.
Yeah, we have more opportunity.
More opportunities. And we also own less land than we did 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. With that being said, you focusing on buyers and educating them is a great homeowners initiative, but you also have a special project around that. Tell us about it.
Well,
tell us what you can.
Well, are you referring to my Middle Georgia project? Or
Middle Georgia, yeah. Yep.
Well, of course, that's my home. I'm in my hometown. I'm just trying to create some affordable housing for, you know, the community that I grew up in. And a wise woman always told me that, you know, you invest in where you live, where you want to live later, and where you grew up.
Wow.
And so, you know, I with my hometown, it's like I would always go, of course, back and forth home, and it just wasn't the place that I grew up. And I said, hey, these people need some help. And, you know, they're hardworking people, and just there was just no one there even talking about home ownership, you know, no one there to help them through the process. And I have to say, you know, I spoke to several people there, and they would go to the bank, and they were quick to tell me, you know, I went and talked to my banker. And I tell you ain't got no banker. You went to the bank and they gave you a car loan. That ain't your banker.
Right.
Right. And so they would tell me stuff like, I went to my banker and they said I had to pay off everything on my credit in order to, you know, qualify for mortgage. And then I'm looking at their credit scores. They have high credit scores. And I'm like, no, they just don't want you to be a homeowner. And so I felt like, you know, I could do what I could do. And, you know, so of course I've done several seminars there. I started doing seminars back a few years ago there, just so that I can start to educate them and get them ready for home ownership. And I did partner with the city to with a 3-year plan to buy 30 properties from the Land Bank Authority there, and just, you know, create some home buyers through new construction. So everything will, of course, be new construction.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. You just got a giving heart. You do. I mean, I see you do the Christmas giveaway every year.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
you do the backpacks. Even in the pandemic, you did the
I
backpacks.
did. I sure did.
You know, when the backpacks were going to be home, but you still did
Yep. And
it.
actually, I did. I donated in my hometown too. This past year was the first year that I've donated. I took it back home. And I also donated did my Christmas drive at home as well as in Atlanta this past year. So I ended up sponsoring about I think it was 57 kids this past year. So I mean, it's just a great feeling. And just to see the smiles on the kids' faces at Christmas time and the parents, some of them they cry on me, tell me about, how much it's a blessing to them. And especially last year with people losing jobs and just going through it, God is good and he has blessed me and he's blessed my family, and so hey, I'm just blessed to be a blessing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you did something special last year also, or the beginning of this year, you opened up your own brokerage.
Yeah, actually it was last year. I opened it in July, and this year is when I really, started to, really open up.
Opened up, got you.
And yeah, I I opened a brokerage because not just to have a brokerage, not just to have a brokerage that, for lack of a better word, just to make money. I opened a brokerage because I needed help. With these buyers, I can't be everywhere all the time. And I said, hey, if I can open a brokerage, create a team of agents that share the same vision and mission that I have, I can also help those agents create six-figure agents, the help that I need in getting these buyers to the closing table. And so that's the real reason. And and just and more so helping the buyers and helping the agents too, all at the same time.
Got
And
you.
I'm really looking forward to what's to come. I think I have an amazing group that has opted to partner with me because, and I tell them we're all in this together. um and if I can help them. And people ask me too, what do you do when you give them everything and then they leave you? I don't care if they leave. I don't care. It's like, but one thing I understand is that when and what I practice is, if when you take care of me, I take care of you, and I make it hard for them to leave,
Yeah.
right? So, and then if they do, then because, and I feel like, and when I say I don't care if they leave, what I mean by that is I have goals and dreams and aspirations myself.
Right.
I hope my agents have the same. I want them to have their own goals, their own aspirations, their own dreams. And I want to be, and I'm just glad to be able to help them to reach those goals. So great. Because my thing is, if they ain't reaching for nothing, I don't want them no way. Right? I need for you to, want something more than what you have. So I'm okay with it. So, so I'm, like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to what's to come. I've got a lot of different things going on, a lot of things in the pipe that I'm going to be sharing with them. And to also, be able to open my own brokerage. It allows me options. Um, just I'm I don't feel good when I'm boxed in.
Got you.
And I'm an out of the box type thinker. I'm a radical thinker. So, I want to be able to do what I want to do. And I want to help my agents to, look at what does their retirement look like? Because we can't run these streets forever. we can't do it. And so, I want to be that brokerage that offers a lot of different things, to my agents where, later on they're good too. Then as well, I don't want to be the only broker making money, whether it's in investments or just traditional real estate or whatever. I'm going to teach them everything I know and hopefully put them in a position to just win. So that was the whole reason for really opening a brokerage.
Wow. How many agents do you have now?
It's 10 of us, and 10 including me. And then I have 3 that'll be coming along with me in South Carolina.
Gotcha. How many do you aspire to have?
I don't know. And I used to say I didn't want but about 10, but I don't know what God got in store. And I don't want to limit myself because he might say, no, you have 100. I was like, oh
God. Wow. So I know you got plenty of things to do, and this has been very helpful. For someone who wants to reach out to you or follow you on social media, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, okay, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, LaShana Smith Middleton. My business page is Paradigm Realty, and on IG, I'm at Paradigm Realty ATL.
Awesome. Well, Shauna, I appreciate your time. I look forward to this coming out, and I'm sure once people hear about your success, it'll definitely blow up your inbox, and people will want to take your class. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson. Have a great day.